Jai Shri Ram. The word galley has several meanings. As usual, like I told you, every word can have any number of literal meanings and any number of implied meanings. The literal meaning means the most common meaning of a word. For example, table is a piece of furniture. That's the literal meaning. Table, implied meaning is postpone. Table, another implied meaning is put up for discussion. So, put up for discussion and postpone, they sound like they are opposites of each other. That's the interesting part about English. So, table is a funny word which means we will table this for today's discussion, that is we put it up for discussion. We will table it to the next meeting, that means postpone it. So, table has a literal meaning and two implied meanings. Similarly, galley is a word with one literal meaning. It is a kind of vessel, sailing vessel in olden days, bireme, trireme. That means there were 2 or 3 banks of oars which were rowed by slaves. They used to be called galley slaves. So, since slavery was institutionalized by the Bible and the Quran, the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible have institutionalized slavery. The word institution, literal meaning is an organization, and the implied meaning is a custom, a tradition, acharam. So, slavery was considered an essential institution. So, in fact, Jesus Christ advised slaves to be nice even to those masters who are very cruel to them. Prophet Muhammad had many slaves. He used to trade in slaves, he used to buy them, he used to free some of them, and so on and so forth. Whereas slavery is not there in Hinduism, because we consider every human being as divine. We see Rama in everyone. So, that is the fundamental difference. So, I am telling you this because if you are a Hindu, you must understand, when they criticize us for a caste system which does not exist, we do not have caste in Hinduism. We have kulam, which means family profession, and jati, which means the lineage, family tree, and then gotram, which means descent from a common male ancestor, which is essential to know. When you get married, you cannot afford to get married to your sister, because if you do, then recessive genes will get together and diseases will get manifested, and the IQ of the succeeding generations will diminish. So, eugenics, EUGENICS, eugenics is a science, the science of improving the quality of the race. So, Hinduism, the system of marriage is based on eugenics. Unfortunately, in other societies, it is based on dysgenics, DYSGENICS. Dysgenics means bad breeding, inbreeding. You see, inbreeding is dangerous. So, for example, the Saint Bernard breed is dying out because of inbreeding. You cannot marry your sister. So, this is the problem. So, now, and then we have Varna in Hinduism. Varna means temperament, like MBTI, Myers-Briggs typology inventory, or Kiersey temperament sorter. Temperaments. Temperaments are, how do you define the word temperament? A habitual mood. What is the mood in which you are? So, temperament also describes the energy level. So, it is a complex word, it is an umbrella term, though I have defined it to the best possible extent. So, temperaments are also genetic. You see, some children are born with a certain temperament. They have the Brahmin temperament, some have a Kshatriya temperament, some have a Vaishya temperament, and some have a Shudra temperament. Nothing is wrong, nothing is superior or inferior. It is all a temperament. Like, for example, I have a natural aptitude for talking, making friends, and I am extroverted. Plus, I like studying books, reading, talking about it, and lecturing and teaching and disseminating knowledge, giving advice. Acquiring knowledge and disseminating knowledge is very interesting to me. That is a passion for me. So, I am a Brahmin by temperament. So, there could be children born in a Brahmin family, but they may be having a Shudra temperament, which means they do not like studying books and doing what the Brahmins do. They do not have the temperament of a Kshatriya, which is like a soldier, which is like an administrator, like a king, like a CEO, a manager, who has these natural abilities, natural flair. Of course, that can be augmented through education, that has to be augmented through education. So, a mango tree is there, you have to give it the right kind of fertilizer and other facilities so that it brings to bear the best mangoes. So, similarly, education system is very essential. Nature versus nurture. In fact, nature plus nurture will yield a champion. So, that was the ancient Gurukula system in India. That has been scrapped and we have the stupid Macaulay education system. That is why we are producing generations of clerks. Clerk mentality. Can't take decisions. Blindly following rules has become the problem with us Hindus. So, rules, yes, we must follow. But we must have the common sense to know when to break the rule too. Because the rule is more important, or the ultimate ideal of society is that more important. The letter of the law or the spirit of the law. What is more important? The spirit of the law. That means in defense of the spirit of the law, the letter of the law may have to be broken. But that should not be an everyday affair. If that becomes an everyday affair, that means there is a flaw in the law. So, the law has to be amended. So, I can go on like this, but I suppose you have understood. We do not have any caste in Hinduism. So, I am telling you this because every average Hindu gets defensive when they attack us on the basis of caste discrimination. You can tell them, listen, there is no caste. Yes, discrimination is there. We are fighting against it. We have our own problems. But yours is worse because you have institutionalized slavery. If slavery is institutionalized, then every crime is legal, because there cannot be any crime worse than slavery. So, first you try to reform yourself and then try to criticize us. We have a problem, we know. We are trying to deal with that. So, we do not have caste. Caste is an imported word. Lord Risley, the British scoundrel, imposed this term on us, and today we are talking, we Hindus have got used to the term caste, and we are also referring to caste all the time, which does not exist. Our system is purely scientific. It is based on eugenics. So do not ever use this word caste. There is no caste. Caste is a Portuguese word which means class. We do not have that concept in Hinduism. The Vedas says, Shrunvantu Vishve Amrutasya Putraha Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu, which means, listen, hark, O children of immortality, you will all attain the celestial realms. That means Veda is declaring all mankind as children of immortality. Whereas other holy books are saying that only our people are going to heaven, the others are slaves, either others are infidels, they have to be converted or killed. Vedas is not saying that. Vedas is saying it's a whole Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It's the world, the entire world is one family, and every Jivatma is, every human is the child of immortality. Amrutasya Putraha. What a divine and philosophically exalted, lofty idea. So, be proud to be a Hindu. Now, galley slaves were there, biremes and triremes. Galley is a word which means a sailing vessel in olden days. Now, we do not have galleys, we have aircraft carriers. So, that is one meaning. Galley, second meaning. Galley also means the kitchen in an aircraft or a ship. Now, galley proof. Now, galley proof is a printer's proof, especially one taken on a long strip of paper from type in a galley, used to make corrections before the matter has been split into pages. So, I have given you, I have included a picture here. So, this is the picture, you can see. So, you can make corrections on the sidelines, in the margin. There are broad margins where corrections can be made, and final editing can be done, and the final page can be printed and a book can be published. So, this is called galley proof. So, galley proof is in printing and publishing. Proofs are the preliminary versions of publications meant for review by authors, editors and proofreaders, often with extra wide margins. Galley proofs may be uncut and bound, or in some cases electronically transmitted. They are created for proofreading and copy editing purposes, but may also be used for promotional and review purposes. So, that is called a galley proof. Jai Shri Ram, listen carefully, there is so much to learn. Even the wisest mind has something to learn. So, never be under the impression that you already know too much. What we know is nothing compared to what we do not know. But we must constantly learn and remember the Japanese word Kaizen, Kaizen, which means constant improvement, constant learning, right? Jai Shri Ram.